What's going on, everyone? This is Sheets. Hope everybody had a good weekend. And for the next, hour or so, we're going to do both the MLB slate for this evening, which the MLB still exists. I just thought I'd let everybody know that. And also the NFL Showdown slate, where they're giving $1 million for first. So we will definitely spend some time on both of those things. Okay, I just have to finish. I wonder what's going on with my projections over here. Something is a little off for NFL Showdown. Let me just fix that for a second. For FanDuel, actually. Just for FanDuel. I don't know what's going on with that, but we will fix that, hopefully. Let me just see something. FanDuel 1. Hey, what's up, All-Star? And then hold on, I got to fix one thing. FanDuel 8. Hold on. NFL. FanDuel. Oh, I don't want to use that. Okay, so 7. I don't want that. I don't want that. I'm going to do this. We're almost ready. I'll do FanDuel in a little bit. Okay, so let's first take a look at the sheets for the MLB slate tonight. And when he comes, we'll congratulate Brandon Cruz, who's been doing extraordinarily well, to say the least, in the last couple of weeks. Finally breaking his string of coming in second and stuff, and he chopped the big Showdown slate last night for 83,000. Good on him. Where are my folders? There it is. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. Okay, that's FanDuel. That's DraftKings, and now I can finally share my screen. Okay. What's up, K9? What's going on? All right. So let's do the same process. We're going to look at the projections, see what they give us, see what looks good. And then we will just start building using SaberSim. And we'll do the same thing for FanDuel. And then we'll talk a little bit about the Showdown slate. So I guess the main talking point is this Tyler Glasnow price against the Rockies. I mean, the only reason to not play him is if you think that he's got physical issues, that they're going to be holding him back. I mean, he had, back spasms or something recently, pulled him out of his last game. And so people are a little concerned. But, I mean, I don't know. If he's remotely healthy, it's like the perfect matchup, and he's way too cheap, maybe by like $2,000. So he's going to be the most popular player, most popular pitcher. I can't see an argument against it, except for what I said. I mean, if you have this thought that he just doesn't get enough pitches, fine, but how many pitches does he even need in this matchup? So I don't know. He certainly looks kind of tough to fade. And then after that, you have 3 expensive dudes and 1 cheapo. Okay, so the 3 expensive dudes, Crochet, Wu, and Webb, they all project pretty similarly. Like you're looking here, it says you have 22 fantasy points for pretty much, with about between 20 and a half and 22 for all of them. And they're all close to the same price. I mean, Crochet is a little bit more expensive, but I have to think he's got more upside than all these guys, So, hey, thanks, K9, for no weather concerns. So I presume, Glasnow and Crochet, I mean, if you can get them in. And I did a dummy lineup earlier, and I got it in really pretty easily with what I wanted to do. Now Crochet is against the A's, who, they hit lefties extraordinarily well, but you could certainly play A's, as a stack, but you certainly should also play the Crochet side. I mean, Crochet just has this incredible strikeout upside here. Brian Woosing, I think, against St. Louis. I mean, that's a nice matchup. Feels like he's going to get like an easy win and give up no runs and maybe get 20 fantasy points. You know what I mean? Like, he's not really the big strikeout dude. Logan Webb, again, same thing. So I think that the Glasnow, Crochet, if you can get those in, would be great. Now, again, you're not going to be able to play both of them and play like the Dodgers and like more expensive stacks. So that's where these guys like Hugh Darvish come in. You know, you just don't expect too much from him and he won't get disappointed, you know, but he certainly is cheap. He could put up 12, 14 points, you know, and get it done. So I think he's the next option. Then you have Simeon Woods Richardson. He's projecting a full 3 points below, you know, so I wouldn't go down to him. So if you're in your hand builds, some combination of Glasnow with one of these three or Glasnow with Darvish. Glasnow, Darvish, you could probably get to the Dodgers. I guess that's the difference. So that's the way it looks. Take a look at the stacks. And as I alluded to before, the Dodgers look like the top overall stack. I mean, let's see how we rate these things. So first of all, in raw points, they rate like 7 points higher than everybody else, which is pretty big. Then when it comes to just pure points per dollar, we rate Minnesota the best, followed by the Angels, Texas, and then the Dodgers. And then when you put it all together in this modified stack score, it's the Dodgers again, but then again, the Angels and Minnesota. Then the Cubs kind of show up. The Cubs were the team I was kind of looking at earlier, but they're actually showing up as not the same type of ownership I was expecting. I had them much lower owned a little earlier. So the teams that I'd actually be targeting if I were hand building, and if, you know, I didn't want to get too chalky, would not be the Dodgers. It would be, and the Angels would be the next chalkiest. I would maybe do something like either the Twins or even better, maybe even Texas. You know, Texas would probably be the team that I would want to use if I want to just hand build kind of a low-owned team. So playing low-owned stuff, I would play Crochet with you know, try to get him with Glasnow. And I'll bet without even looking that you can get all these guys in. These are all really, really cheap dudes from Texas. If you get lucky and they get something going, I mean, that's you know, you're in business there. You don't need me to demo that. You got to trust me that you can certainly do that. So there's the caution, right? The Glasnow had back tightness, right? Listen, very, very reasonable concern. You know, back tightness is no joke. All right, let's take a look at FanDuel. First, we'll look at where is this? The pitchers. And the pitchers here, they're actually pretty close, all four of these dudes. As far as my value scores go, Crochet, Glasnow, Woo, and Webb. So any of those are fine. I don't think you need to pay down for pitching, you know, to get to Darvish again. So any of these guys look okay. I mean, honestly, if I had to pick one, I guess, again, Crochet, just because of the upside. And again, if you're getting points for those quality starts, maybe Glasnow is a little more risk. And Woo probably moves up a little bit. And maybe even Webb moves up a little bit. So I think Glasnow probably goes down a little bit on FanDuel because of the, you know, the extra points you get for the quality start. Take a look at these stacks over here. I just want to see something, by the way. Hold on before I do this. I'll try to run this thing one more time. Okay, so in stacks, very similar. I see the Dodgers number one every which way. You're going to be extremely high owned though, you know. So what are you going to do? You can't really play this. You can't play four Dodgers with one of those top pitchers. I mean, it's just going to be too chalky, I think. And you know, in the big GPPs and single entry, sure. So I'm kind of trying to see somebody else. I mean, and unfortunately, the Angels are kind of like the obvious pivot here. So it's like kind of the pivot off the pivot. and now we're getting somewhere. So when I'm looking down here, you see Minnesota. That looks okay. That's even still no bargain. You know, I think what you want, I mean, you really want to, and again with this, the same error I'm getting here with my FanDuel projections. I'll have to deal with that. I'll have to deal with that later. Okay. So I think that on FanDuel, maybe you get down to maybe Seattle or something like that. Look at their low ownership here. Or even once again, Texas. I think Seattle's very reasonable. Who's Seattle play that they're so good? Let me see. Why is Seattle so low owned? Who are they fight? Who are they facing? Are they facing one of the top guys probably? Oh, they're facing nobody. Yeah, Seattle. That's the team. I mean, that's basically the nuts, isn't it? Let me see something. Yeah, so that would be my call, is to play something like Seattle and something. So if you want, listen, want to have some fun with, you want to hand build something? Let's hand build like two lineups. We'll hand build a DraftKings. We'll hand build a FanDuel. I mean, we won't play them, so no one will get mad at us. Let's see. So let's see what these would look like. No, we want to just set lineup. So who are the top Seattle guys? I know we can afford them. Oh, Mikolas? Oh, F him. So Arozarena, Raleigh, Julio. So let's just jam all these guys in. I'm sure you can afford them, right? Julio. All right, it's not completely cheap. And then Kyle Raleigh, 4,400, huh? Yikes! It really, I remember the days. And then Polanco is the next guy I have, or we could play Josh Naylor. I think maybe he has more upside. You want to try that? He's a little more expensive, but what's his? He's a first baseman, so we got to use both. Both spots there. So let's just say that I wanted to play, I don't know, Crochet just for kicks. Can I do this? Ooh, it's tough, huh? 24.25 a man. You wonder if you save any money. Oh, Nero was hitting fourth, though. I would love to play him if possible. Unless you're really going to save money with Polanco. Yeah, I mean, you save 400. Is that enough to get all excited? So what I would like to do if I was going to, again, hand build, is I would go back and just see really literally point per dollar, like who looks good here. So I would look at value stacks, and I would see actually the Dodgers. Oh my God, best point per dollar. We won't be able to afford them. Maybe some of these Minnesota guys can be cheap enough, or Texas. So let's see what these guys look like. I remember the Texas guys looking pretty cheap. So let's just see. Nah, not really. 3,600 for Langford, who I probably want. What about Minnesota guys? These guys are cheap. Is Buxton cheap? I don't think he's going to be cheap enough. Is he not playing? We don't have him yet. He's 4,300. Yikes. I mean, you can play Clemens lefty versus lefty. So maybe you can't do this after all. Maybe you can't play Crochet with these guys. So it looks as though hand building with FanDuel is not going to be as easy as it could be. I'd probably have to pay down for somebody like, I mean, not that this is bad or anything like that, but maybe, I mean, you only save 300. It doesn't really help you. So maybe it's a tough day to hand build. Okay. Okay, so with that said, let's see something. Let's see, did I ever? And again, I have to. I'm dealing with these. I don't know why this is bothering me so much. It's not for like 2 hours, but not being able to get my FanDuel projections right is a little annoying. So 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A. Oh, okay. 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 8A. See if that works. NFL. Okay, we'll try it. Okay, so what we're going to do is then we're going to go back into SaberSim and see what we get there. DraftKings is easy, I promise you. You want to handle with DraftKings, you want to play Texas or something like that, you could play both Crochet and Glass Now together, and you could do it really easily. You're just going to trust me on that. But let's do SaberSim, show you what we're doing here. So we're playing 9 entries in the 10 entries in the Immaculate Inning. Oh, by the way, thanks for reminding me. I have to post that on Stake Kings. 60 of the bat flip, 1 of the battery, and 1 satellite. There's Mega 8s, which I have tickets to already, which is cool. Ooh, did I fix my? Yep, I think FanDuel got fixed. That's good. All right, so let's upload the new projections. And in homage to what's his name? To Adam Perry, we will demand the stacks that we want pre-flop instead of waiting for it to just build. Exclude unlisted players. Boom, boom. And then under stack exposure, we will X these out. Everything except for 5 3s, 5 2s, 5s, and 4 4s. And we are going to set a 49,000 minimum. And then we're just gonna rock the house and see what we end up getting. And it looks as though we got our FanDuel projections built almost. Not quite. Let's see what this looks like. Why did the NFL not work again? Oh, I'm going to figure this out as this builds. Okay, oh, I want 4A. See, I did it again. So I wonder what I get here. I wonder if I get this Crochet and Glass Now together, because I was able to get them pretty easily when I'm hand building. So I imagine I can get them pretty easily using SaberSim. I mean, earlier I was getting all this Texas. I mean, if I could hand build, I would get the Texas. So now it's simming all these lineups against the contest fields that I've allocated. And then it's going to then use its portfolio diversity tool and create a whole portfolio of lineups for me. Updated projections. I hope this doesn't impact what I've done already. That would be annoying. Will Smith is out, so the Dodgers came in. Okay. And the FanDuel has finally, it looks like it's come in finally. Looks that way. All right, so let's see what we have here. Team stacks. Looks like, hey, getting Dodgers and Angels. Why does this feel just so freaking chalky? 87% glass now. We're going to save these for now, but definitely feel as though I want to hand build a couple of lower owned lineups in the Immaculate Inning. Very least, I'm certainly going to late swap. Okay. Minnesota's lineup is still not in yet. Look at all these day-to-days and all this stuff. It's a pretty
It's garbage.
Okay, so now we'll do FanDuel. We don't have Minnesota's in yet. Is that the story? Okay. Night slate again. I don't know, man. I don't know if I can do it. FanDuel. Okay, this is interesting. I'm like well below, like kind of across the board, which is very bizarre. But let's do the same thing. We'll make it 34,000, and then we'll go stack Xer. I want only 4 4s and 4 3s and 4 2 2s. And we'll build 20,000. Yeah, so the Dodgers lineup is in, so I'm going to have to redo those. Yeah, Brave Jayhawk isn't doing it with me here. I'm doing some for the Ship Nation guys because they have a separate survivor pool thing that I'm doing with them. But as far as TrueDFS, I mean, you know, I don't think I'm gonna do anything regularly. I'm still in the Discord though. If you want to ask me about anything survivor related, you can you can put it. You can ask me over there. Yeah, I'm presuming that what's his name is not in the Roshan Johnson. I guess they'll announce that shortly though. I guess that's the one bit of news that we're still waiting on over there, right? And this Dodger thing I could always re-swap later. We got a good hour and a half between the 8 o'clock and these 10 games. Yeah, as you guys know, I had a big hit in the showdown. Oh, Buxton is out. Yeah, so we're gonna have to deal with that. As you guys know, I had a big hit in the showdown on Friday. And then Saturday did well in MMA. The classic slate in football yesterday was really bad for me, actually. Just couldn't get, really anything going, regardless of buy-in. And that is the way it goes sometimes. All right, let's see what we get here. Dodgers, Angels, Red Sox. Again, it's definitely a little on the chalkier side, it seems. But, trust your process, I guess. I think Brandon is going to be coming to do the NFL, so I want to wait a minute or two before he gets here because I want to start talking about the slate a little bit. So while that's happening, we can go back into here into my DraftKings and see how many like Dodgers and Twins I have that are out. This way, at the very least, I can swap those out. Yeah, sure. I mean, that's certainly reasonable. I thought that'd be too chalky, but I guess. So here, all these Buxton lineups, Will Smiths. Wait, Brian Wu is out? Oh, these are low salary swaps. Oh, look at this, because I have low salary. This is actually pretty cool, actually. Oh, I like it. And again, this is boy, that's a pretty cool like quick swap feature. That it also takes into account how much salary you have left, and it gives you the higher projected player. Again, these are not like full builds, but that's a good way at least to, get these guys that are out of your lineups, and then you can like redo stuff later. That's actually a neat little new feature that I just on the fly just figured out on SaberSim. That's pretty cool. Maybe you'll see that work hopefully on FanDuel as well. Let's see. So let's see what it says. Buxton and then low salary lineups. So if you have extra salary as a result of this, then it gives you the higher projected player. And again, it's not a full build. Doesn't even necessarily mean it's the right lineup, but at least it tied you over until you redo your projections, which I will be doing forthwith. It's good. I got some time. I got like 10, 15 minutes before these Twins I have to deal with. But what I can do in the meanwhile, while that's happening, I'll do full projections again, but at the very least, let's just update the Twins at least. How about that? No, I don't really do. I've been having trouble with doing my own Showdown stuff, really, and putting it on the site. So I'm not really doing that for Showdown. Or let me see. What was I just saying? Twins. So let's look at the go back to the builds here. I mean, I know Goldie probably has them, and what's his name, and we have SaberSims, but that's about all I can do for Showdown. Okay, so here's Twins. So Buxton is out, and then who is in as a result? And then Outman is in. Oops. No, I'm not here. Outman is in. And then we go back to the Dodgers. and we'll just fix the Dodgers. Who's the guy? Just Will Smith was the only one who was out, right? Will Smith was out, and then who made it in as a result? Ben, whatever his name is, right? Okay, so we're good. So what we do, we can rebuild now. Here, let's rebuild. There you go. Good. We'll definitely talk about it. Oh, it is Brandon. What's up, Brandon? How are you?
Hey, Sheets, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. For those of you that have been following, Brandon is doing extraordinarily well the last couple of weeks. He across all sports really. I mean, he had a big hit in MMA. Then within the next day, he had a big hit in NASCAR, and then just yesterday he got a big hit in football, and across the different how much they're offering, they're all pretty equal. You know what I mean? Like given the sport and given whatever, which is pretty well executed. And I know it's anathema to say that somebody you're hot, you're feeling it, whatever it is, because that's usually not the way math works. But it's it's funny sometimes. It really is. It's
Yeah.
funny. It really is funny sometimes when things just kind of happen in clumps like that. I mean, I know it's not supposed to work that way, and it's math and all that stuff, and it's variance. But I just listen, I'm 58 years old. I've seen a lot in my life. You know what I mean? Seen a lot of stuff that you can't explain sometimes. But obviously good for you. We're going to talk about the Showdown slate, but you want give a couple of people just a couple of things about if anything has been changing your process, what you've been up to in general. I know it's easy to say now after you win, right? Like that. Oh, this is what's been working or whatever. And maybe you've just been doing the same thing for the last 7 years, and like all of a sudden it's just clicking now. It's possible to. Why don't you? Because I saw it in the Discord. A couple of people like, well, at least someone's winning. I've been trying my best. I'm not getting there. So give everybody a little bit of a taste of what you've been doing recently, if anything different.
Yeah, the good thing on that regard is on the show I did earlier today, I did that for about like 20
Oops.
minutes. But no, but you actually you asked it in a different way, and since I've been thinking about it more and talking to other people after I did that, what I've like I mean I'm 27 now, but I've been grinding DFS and stuff as my primary source of income since before COVID, and doing that early 20s and stuff. Like I don't have a bankroll, right? Like it's grinding month to month or whatever, right? And so following that MMA takedown 2.5 weeks ago, like that's the first time I've like actually I was saving up money for the NFL season anyway, but following that takedown, like I had a bankroll. Like I can actually afford to like lose money chasing things, right? So
Right.
one, that's probably the biggest change. Two, um, I I mean, for like some NASCAR races and plate races and stuff, I had entered, like 30 to 40 lines, but really before the last 2 weeks, I had never like MME'd at all. Like I couldn't afford to. I could not do that. And so just the way my brain works, like I was always doing, for Showdown stuff, I was always doing a lot of single entry stuff for, the $40, the $15, or during the NBA season, last year and the year before, I would like max out the threes and fours and like really play those aggressively. What I just happened to end up doing, through these last five showdowns and stuff, is I've been approaching them with my same mentality that I would approach single entry with. So like a really condensed pool of captains,
That's
like
awesome.
and I've just literally expanded that and used MME to like cover all the bases that I felt like I had shortcomings on when it's a single entry and I miss on a value or something. I'm almost using MME as a way to get around possibly missing those shortcomings. And now the sample size has been incredibly small. It's been like literally 2.5 weeks. But the yesterday's slate was maybe the fifth one that I had entered that many lines on and stuff. And I have to imagine, that's on the far end of, probability that's going to happen. But that's really just been what I'm doing. I've been approaching everything with the same mentality I've done in C Wintry, just using all these lineups to try and cover any bases that I probably couldn't do if I had won 10 or 20 lines.
That's awesome. The other thing that people don't listen. This is like one of the evil things about DFS and like these big lottery tournaments is that they're the ultimate. They really are the ultimate sucker bet for people that want to play like 5 or 6 lineups. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You just I don't say have no chance. It's just so hard because you have to get so different, and you don't want to get that different with only 5 or 6 lineups anyway. You know what I mean? And you're fighting all these people with like 150 lineups. Not that it's easy if you have access to 150, but I'll just say that if you have access to only 5 or 10 and you're going to play that tournament, it's just really, I don't want to say wasting money, but it's just so hard. It's just so hard. And I know that's not what people want to hear. People don't want to hear, well, play single entry, play 3-max, don't play that lottery. Because you see that 50,000 or whatever prize and everybody wants to play it. But it's very, listen, I find it hard enough to compete myself when I play 60.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And because I don't play 150 in the baseball, I only play 60. And I find that hard. I can't imagine, if you play, number one, if you can only play 10 lineups and you're like legitimately worried about the money that you're going to lose if you play it.
Yeah. Like I'm, that's why I started saying, grinding that, month to month, being able to pay rent. Like obviously I have to do that in the past like that. I mean, that's hella stressful, obviously. Like I can't, afford to, throw lineups to just piss money away, for the majority. Like that's a tough aspect. And when you do DFS not as a side income but as your primary income, like that's even more stressful. Like you cannot afford to have, and especially with how difficult DFS is, to where you can just burn money it so fast, like you won't even know what's going on. Like I think slowly working my way past that barrier is going to be is hopefully going to, I mean, it already has proven a good process, but hopefully I can just continue going like that.
And not to get too personal into this, but I bet your partner was finally smiling a little bit.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, like, see, every once in a while.
Yeah. No, it really is. Like, we just got a house too, so moving. Like, I mean, everything's working there, and it was like, this, it's a lot of.
I get it. So let me just save these FanDuel lineups, and then we could talk about the NFL slate for tonight. I mean, I would like to say that I can't imagine that this game is going to remotely resemble last night's game. I don't think anything you're going to see is going to resemble last night. You have you hear all this talk about the defenses ahead of the offenses, and it takes a while to go. You got basically the two best players in football, like freaking just operating at an extraordinarily high level, like on week 1. It's pretty freaking cool, to see. And Derrick Henry just coming right out of the freaking gate, and just to see all these teams, see both these teams just firing out like that. It's to put an end to a really, really, really good, forget the DFS part. I thought it was a good week of football, honestly. You see stuff that you didn't expect. You see Aaron Rodgers coming back to freaking New York, and those two teams putting up a freaking billion points, just like we all thought, right? That's right. Yeah. But there were some things that we expected. We expected Tennessee to be weak, and despite them being feisty, Cam Young is, I mean, I don't think he's ready yet. But that's what you do with a rookie. Put him in there, and it's going to happen. Dallas gave Philly a scare. Arizona got a scare. It was an NFL's. I thought
it was a fun week to watch. Yeah,
I thought it was. So why don't you give me? Like, what do you think of the game tonight? I'll say do the same thing I do with Bob. Like, what? First of all, what do you think of the game? And then we'll talk about the players.
So from a game perspective, this lines up to be a terrible slate for me. I think it's going to be low scoring and really ugly football, and I always struggle with games like that. So that's my first take. Secondly, at least from a slate perspective, because I expect the game to be pretty ugly and stuff, I think this is a very, 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 very difficult slate to really project or even build for. I think ownership outside of the captain, outside of the captains and stuff, ownership is going to be completely spread out in the value range, because regardless of how you're building, each team is like 2 running backs that are expensive, 17 receivers that are like under 4K, plus these tight ends. You're needing salary to pay up for all these expensive captains and stuff. I think this is going to be a really, really difficult slate to have a profit on, because there should be so many different avenues to build. Even if you're using the same captains and stuff, there's going to be so many 1v1s and everything at the bottom of the salary. I think that makes it difficult too, because, or I guess 3, because of that. I think, I'm probably not going to go this direction, but the 2 quarterbacks make a lot of sense, more than usual, to play in the captain position, because the range of outcome for everybody else is so drastically high. Both quarterbacks should at least be scoring like 14 to 16 points in this game, even if nothing really happens. They should very easily hit their projections, or at least their, easily their floor and stuff. I also think Jefferson makes a lot of sense here, because outside the quarterbacks, he's probably the best play on the slate to at least score over 12 points.
Well, let me. I don't want to say push back, but let me just, again, I'm just spitting out stuff that I heard, because like I said, I come into the NFL season knowing nothing, and I just kind of like learn it on the fly. Honestly, I just kind of look at my projections, look at the thing, look at what the numbers are, just kind of derive what's going to happen. I don't watch a lot of sports, sports podcasts or anything like that. But I do watch a little bit of external content. Usually I get like my substantive takes from like Bobby, but he's not here. So I was talking to other people, whatever. And so what I have heard is the following, that you are getting a big upgrade in Chicago, because they hired the offensive coordinator from Detroit from last year, who basically just had that freaking thing going at a well-oiled machine in Detroit, replacing Eberflus, who basically called like some of the worst offense that there was. So what I'm hearing is that it's a whole new system, and it's going to be a whole big upgrade. Now, I don't know if I'm hearing too much of that. You know what I mean? Like, and people are way too whatchamacallit, upbeat about that kind of stuff. But so that's one thing I'm hearing. The other thing is that there are some key injuries out of here. So Jordan Addison is out. Okay, so what Minnesota did is they actually pulled off Adam Thielen off the retirement community, I guess. Like I don't know if he was going to stay in Carolina or whatever. So they brought Adam Thielen in. Then you got these other dudes, these other like rookies that we don't know about. Like Chicago's got this Colston Loveland, who's supposedly really good. And then you have this Roshan Johnson, who I'm waiting for the official word, but from what I heard, he's going to be out, or at the least very, very questionable, trending towards out. So if that's the case, then you have this other dude from Chicago, whose name is now escaping me, at 2,900, I believe, on DraftKings, who's going to look really good. So like that, those are like the players that I've been kind of led to believe are going to be good here. Now, what's the name of the guy, the running back? No, I can't remember him. Let's see. 20. I think he's 2,900. Oh, Kyle Monagai. Okay, Kyle Monagai. That's his name. So if Roshan Johnson is in fact out, you have Kyle Monagai, who is a very legit RB2 at 2,800. So I think he's going to get some love. Let's put it that way. Whether he deserves it or not, that's what you're hearing. And then this other dude from Chicago is this guy Luther Burden, who is maybe not exactly ready yet, but who knows? Supposedly he's got a lot of talent, things like that. So if you wanted to play it as an offensive game, like you could, but I'm sort of the belief that it's going to go the way you say it's going to go. Because Minnesota, like they are really, really tough on defense, and they blitz a ton. And if Chicago's really rolling out a new system, I think the last thing you want when you're rolling out a new system is to be facing all the heat. You know what I mean? So I think I sort of agree that this game could get a little bit ugly. That's pretty much what I have. I mean, so you mentioned Jefferson. I really agree with your take on the whole game. Really, is that you can count on Jefferson, but aside from that, like there's no real skill player you can really count on across the board here. So this slate, unlike a lot of others, you could play it kind of boring. You know, quarterbacks, kickers, maybe defense. Hope the winning score is like 100. Or something like that. And I think that's very, very, very possible.
I do want to add that, and I'm assuming all this is factored into projections, or if it isn't, I don't even know how you would do that. But the field condition today is pretty poor. Chicago has had a lot of concerts in Soldier Field this week, and like even just an hour ago, like you can see the seams in the field. And they're filling a lot of holes in with sand. Now, yet again, I don't know how you really factor that in, but the field condition here is actually pretty bad for these guys.
Well, so it's funny. Whenever it starts to snow, I think about that kind of stuff because usually, counterintuitively, when it's snowing, it's usually pretty good for the receivers because they're the only ones that can know where they're going. And the defensive backs just completely just like sliding all over the place. I've seen a ton of those snow games. Now, on the other hand, if it's like just bad field conditions in general, maybe just bad for everybody. So I'm not sure. The wind is when it's usually like that's usually where the weather really plays into this. So just for funsies, I put my projections in. I'm just going to run some SaberSim builds and kind of see what I end up getting here. And let's just see. The thing is that I currently have Roshan Johnson as in because he hasn't been projected as out.
Yeah.
So that's going to obviously impact this. And if anybody has come up with the official injury report yet, it's 6:45. It's supposed to be out, I guess, right?
Or it's like barely just coming out. We just hit 90 minutes like 4 minutes ago.
So once somebody knows the Roshan Johnson, I also believe that when Roshan Johnson is ruled out, I also believe that the projection on the and the Kyle, there it is, Roshan is inactive. So I imagine that the Kyle Mana guy is going to get a bump, and I think he's going to be pretty popular. That's going to be my. But then again, like, what do you need him for? You know what I mean? Like it's like you said. There's except for Jefferson. Like what guy do you really need? Like you really need like DJ Moore at 9,600. Like for example, I don't
know. And even with that, I like Rome way more than DJ Moore on the Chicago side.
Adunzi, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I like him a lot as well. When I did my first set of builds, I was getting like just insane amount of him in the captain, which is not exactly like what you want in when you could be in a low scoring game.
Yeah. But when you're expecting it to be a pretty ugly game, and yet again, that's why like I know my weaknesses. Like I just don't. Even when I purposely build for low scoring games, I still don't do anything. But I will say today I will probably approach it with Jefferson and
so look just what you said there. So my initial SaberSim builds, like you said, of the top three guys, two of them are quarterbacks, are McCarthy and Caleb Williams. It's like this is not the slate, I guess, to be exotic about your captains. This is not. Usually, we love doing this. We love playing the wide receivers at the captain and being a little funky and stuff like that. But that's when all these guys have ceilings. Here, it looks as though I'd be getting mostly McCarthy Jefferson and Caleb Williams, then kind of sprinklings of these other guys. But and then in the flex, there it is. I mean, like I think I'm getting 100% of these quarterbacks. So I don't know what I'm going to end up doing with this. But should I leave salary? I mean, again, that's usually not my thing. So we're going to see what I end up doing. I might use the Pater Portfolio Manager tool and try to screw around with that. I might try to do some geo-mean filtering and screw around with that just to kind of force in. It's $1 million for first. I would hate to not at least have one unique lineup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just so there's a shot. You know what I mean? Like, I want like one lineup with like, Olamide, Zacharias, and the captain, or something like that. Just and leaving 4,000 on the table just in case, that's always cool to have a sweat like that every once in a while. Josh Oliver, for those of you who've been following these streams, has been. I basically invented Josh Oliver like 3 years ago, and I think that he only plays apparently in Showdown slates. I don't know why. We never see him in classic slates, but because he's probably min salary and has no chance. But he's always viable in Showdown. He is the SP2, the tight end 2 behind Hawkinson. And you never know. Somebody mentioned Bears are without the 2 starting corners and linebacker. Also, if I'm not mistaken, Minnesota might be without their free safety. So, yeah. But I'd like to think that all these things are factored into the total, and all those things trickle down into the projections. That seems to make a lot of sense. All right, so I wonder what. So let's just see if it changes here. So Roshan Johnson was SaberSim a 4.7 projection, and Kyle was a 2.67. So let's see if we refresh the projections, if those have changed yet. I imagine they haven't changed anything yet. Let's just see. They still have Roshan in. So we're gonna have to wait for that, but we got time. We got like
we got an hour and 90 or an hour and 30.
But we got an hour. And I guess that's pretty much all I have. I'm not. Listen, if you wanted to be cute, you want to make rules. You know what you could do? Okay, so you could say, I don't know, max one of who's the wide receiver 3 for Minnesota.
Probably be Thielen then. Yeah,
either Thielen or the guy I mentioned, not Loveland, Naylor. Yeah. So max one of those 2, like for example, you could do max one of the 2 running backs, for Aaron Jones and DeAndre Swift, if you wanted to. And I think that's not so bad, like a low scoring slate, because what are the odds that they both get a touchdown?
Yeah. And that's also why, going back to this slate being kind of ugly, it's kind of unfortunate it's coming off of yesterday when people were asking me what I'm doing. Like, I don't think I can do literally anything I did yesterday for this slate.
No.
With just how and like I think the game hits the under. So
yeah. What is it, 44 and a half, something like that?
Yeah, I think it's 44, 43.
Okay. You know what I want to do? I am going to get out of here because I want to post these Stake Kings things up for the Immaculate Inning. I forgot to do that. Okay, I am going to get out of here. Good luck, everybody, and